Today's video is very different from what I have made in the past. You seem to have loved my video about my entire server room, but another thing that I'm really passionate about is building products. I have ran a software startup before, and that was one of the most fun, challenging, and hard times ever. And I want to do it all over again. I've been trying to build a lot more products. I've been trying to test out, like, is this a real problem? Can I solve it? Can I build it? Even for building those things, I need technical skills. So I've been building software products, machine learning projects, learning how to solder, building a server room, having hardware on my hand so I don't have to use cloud all the time, understanding how DNS works. And yeah, Azure went down today. So cloud services seem to also have a lot of problems. Learning all of these skills by myself, learning how to breadboard and using Raspberry Pis and Arduinos, it's just a lot, and it is a blast learning all of these technologies. And recently, after building all of these little projects, I finally feel comfortable enough for me to build a project where I see myself using ChatGPT voice, Grok, all of these kind of voice AI tools that I think are really helpful. They help me brainstorm when I have a question, they help me think through a problem. Something goes wrong on the server, I ask it. I just ran this command and I have no idea, like, how do I configure this? AI can actually help me think through it. It's like, did you run these things? And I go, oh, that is so true. It's like having a really smart friend who a really good programmer at my fingertips. Now, my phone is great for me to do that, but what I wanted was a really beautiful looking, adds utility to my desk, adds a character to my desk, and I can ask it whatever question I want. It should be able to pull my calendar up, tell me answers. Ideally, that was the promise of the HomePod and these smart speakers, that they should be able to do it. They don't really seem to do the very basics, and they're never really gonna have the capabilities to brainstorm with you, maybe 5 years from now. But are we really gonna wait 5 years to have something that we already have on our phones from third-party applications? I think smartphones are great. I use my smartphone to use Grok voice app all the time, but phones are distracting. They have rate limits. You have to buy a $30 a month subscription, and it's on your phone. A lot of times when I'm working, I don't want to pick up my phone and get distracted from the task that I was supposed to be doing. That just is very counterintuitive, and our phones are extremely distracting, and everyone knows that. And now you can go on Grok website and start the voice chat. But the problem is people like me and a lot of people who work on desks don't have their laptops open all the time. Like you can see, I have a work computer, my personal computer, both of them are docked. And when they are docked, you really cannot use their microphone. And the speaker is also clamshell. You can get the speaker to work, but not the microphone. Then you need to have your headphones on all the time. If I'm working 12, 18 hours a day, I don't have headphones on 24/7. But then I have questions 24/7 while I'm sitting on my desk. So then I go on my phone, but I get distracted by my phone. This is a very first world problem. I have a phone, I have a computer, but people who work service jobs, people who work making content, people who are on the desk working on their computer all the time, or even like I'll be soldering something on my little soldering station, and I just got into it, and I have two kinds of solders. One has lead, one does not, and I didn't know what temperature do I put my soldering iron so it doesn't overheat the solder and like melts off and doesn't stick to the board that I'm trying to solder, or it should not be too cold that it doesn't even melt the metal. I just asked it, my phone, open Grok, ask it a question, what temperature should it be? And as I would talk through it, I was like, oh, 650 for the lead-free one. Make sure you put a little flux paste on it. As I go through these, I can learn these skills. I've been learning much faster because I can talk through them. All I see the possibility here is a Jarvis like device that you walk in. Hello, good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. These are the things on your calendar. Would you like me to pull this up for you? And you say, no, actually, I'm going to start working on this thing. Can you pull these files up for me? Could you summarize me on this specific topic? I just saw on my phone, like this happened in the news. Could you pull some information and tell me what happened in that? These are questions that you would want to ask the smartest person around you, or like personal assistant, but the smartest person on earth is your personal assistant sitting right here on your desk. That's exactly what I'm going to share in the video today and the following videos. My process about building this product. I would love for an engagement from the community, understand as I'm building things, as I'm making design choices, what do you think? Like when I start making a casing, would you like a design like that? What would you do differently? I would love the community feedback on these kind of things, and I want to make a product that is driven by people. The code and everything is open source, so you can check out if the server's secure or not, if the device client side code is good or not. It's still very early alpha stage development, but I would love your feedback. Let me know what you think about that in the comments, and let's get on with the video. I call it J.A.V.I.A. It's just a very intelligent agent. Now, I see where the resemblance of the name may come from, and it's intentional. Okay, here we got the Raspberry Pi website, and let's go hardware. On their website, they still have the Pi Zero as a $15 computer. So imagine $15 for the whole computer. Then I add in this little mic, and this costs like maybe $1. I actually bought 5 from AliExpress for like $1.35. So pretty cheap mic. And then I can have 2 of those, so let's say $2. And then the speaker, I think I bought 6 of them for $10, so like $2 a speaker. And then the amp, these amps are also really inexpensive. So all in, it would be like $17 for this, $2 for the speaker, $2 for the microphone, $21 and the $2 for amp. So it goes up to like at max $25 plus the cost of raw materials, material costs, not the fixed cost, the sunk time, and all of those. So that all would have come out to be like at max $30, not more than that. Also add the SD card, which I can get a pretty cheap small SD card. Right now I was using a bigger one because that's all I had, the 32 gigabytes. But you could use a 2 gigabyte SD would work just fine and it would be like maybe $5. But the issue is you really cannot find the 02W anywhere. Like I can click on any of these and it says you can add it to your list, but it can't be shipped, can't be picked up. I actually went into Micro Center. They did not have it. They're pretty much out of stock. Canakit seems to have a couple, but then it's not $15. They up the price and have a bunch of shipping cost on top of it, which adds up too much to the cost because I could have gone into Micro Center and just pick it up for $15 plus taxes. And then here you see it's marked up even more. It's 17.25. And then here you keep seeing it like this is with headers. Headers cost like $1 or 2 more. This goes up to $20 and it's out of stock even here. On Pi Shop, it's out of stock. And on Villeros, it only comes in a kit for $45. So it's almost not available anywhere, and I can't find why. Researching on the community, all it says is seems like this is not going to be updated for a while. This is the most annoying part about this. It uses micro USB B, and they have a commitment of like e-waste or something, and they're not going to upgrade micro USB B till 2028. Who in their right minds do that? Like, that actually is maybe worse because now people who are gonna somehow ended up buying this may not have a USB B cable, even specifically a data cable. They may not even have it. And for that, they need to buy a new one. And when they start buying it, people produce more. And over time, there will be a lot more micro USB B cables when they actually put this out of the supply chain. So it's just much easier to just cut it off like lightning, how they just had to they were kind of forced to take lightning off of all of the devices and all of the iPhones, and now no one really makes lightning cables except the existing stock in the market. Maybe Raspberry Pi should follow suit and just start doing that. Okay, so the Pi Zero was a bust, did not work. The only other option I had was getting the Pi 5, not the compute module, but just the normal Pi 5. I already had a fan installed on it, so I'm just gonna ignore that for now. I took it out of my server. The advantages of this is it has a much faster processor, has a lot more community support, including the company Raspberry Pi supporting this a lot more with libraries for the GPIO headers and anything you need to connect for accessories. They have really good libraries for it and currently updated, which the Raspberry Pi has much faster processor and it also has 4 times the RAM. From 512 megabytes of RAM on this device right here to then going up to at minimum coming up to 2 gigabytes. Well, the price also goes up. I think right now the cheapest one on Micro Center for the Raspberry Pi 5, the 2 gigabyte model is $40. So the price does go up from the $15 that this is supposedly should be, and if it was available, then goes up to 40. So that's almost 3 times the price and almost double the size. But what we do gain is 4 times the RAM, a lot faster processor, a lot more IO to work with. So I think Overall, if I can find and build a casing for this that will work really well, there's a lot more leeway on the amount of space that we can have. If I can design something really cool, I think this will also help with faster responses. So the size trade off may be beneficial, and this being not available may have just improved the performance of this device for a lot of people. This does some audio encoding. So when the audio gets recorded, it gets compressed. Maybe we want to compress the audio because we don't care about the quality of the audio to be top notch. We just care about the vocals and the people talking to be good enough for the AI model to then translate that into text. If we can compress it with the faster processor, we should be able to compress it much faster and then send it over Wi-Fi to the server. So the entire response time should maybe be 2 seconds. And I'm working towards making it even faster. So it should be like you talk for at least a minute, then you get a response back in less than a second. So that's the goal of this. All right, now let's talk about how this is working. It is not as complicated as one would think. Pretty simple. This microphone right here connects to the Raspberry Pi 5. Then this is the amp. So this takes power from the Pi, converts it, makes sure the audio that is coming in as a signal, it all is clear. And also it shouldn't blow up the speaker because it needs a specific voltage. Then sends it to the speaker. With this knob, it can rotate clockwise and anti-clockwise. On the screen, I'm going to turn it anti-clockwise, and you will see the volume going down. As I do clockwise, it goes up. As a user, volume controls are very important. So, knob. And then a neat feature with this is when this can be clicked like a PlayStation controller. When you click this in, it activates and starts recording the audio. So here's a test. Tell me who was the first president of the US. All right,
George
compressed.
Washington
There you
was
go.
the first president of the United States, serving from 1789 to 1797.
It took like maybe a second. Let's look at how long it took for everything to work. I pressed the button, then it talked for 4 seconds right here. So that's when I stopped speaking. From the second I stopped speaking to getting a response was playing response 54, 2 seconds. So it took my audio, converted that into text, then took that text to an agent with the system prompt, got an answer, and then converted that answer into audio and then sent that over the server to the Raspberry Pi to speak over the speaker. So that's actually really cool. The goal would be getting longer audio, like someone can talk for a minute. As soon as that's uploaded to the server, it should take maybe a second and everything should be working. So that's the goal of how fast it should be working. Now let's talk design. Some ideas I've had for designing outer casing. I was testing, I can put a little microphone right here. The speaker would slide right on top here. And then this module will go slide right on top. And then I can make a button for it. I haven't found the best model that I should build for this. So if you have any ideas, please let me know in the comments actually. That would be very helpful. What kind of design would you like on a desk? I want to do something that is maybe old iMac looking, the original iMac. I also thought of a design where it could be a normal keyboard, and on a keyboard, you can have a little space that has the Pi and the speaker. So, right where your keys are, you can talk to it. Or maybe a desk mat that can have a side space right here that can have the charging station, and people can connect their phones, charge it on their desk. What if there was also a button to turn the volume up and down and they can talk to it, something like that? What if it was like a docking station right here where you can put your phone and it shows your calendar, timer, or your photos? It also has a button on top that when you press, you can talk to it and ask questions. So you don't have to take your phone out, ask it questions, or be on your computer, do those kind of things. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. I'm still very early stages of this. This is very new to me. Building product is something I have not done physical hardware product, especially doing all the electronics, then building these mechanical objects, fitting them to size, and then doing the software, writing Python, making sure the code base doesn't go out of control, and then also doing all of the server sysadmin stuff is a lot, but being able to talk to this has been super helpful and has made the process really good. You can actually find the repository. It's all open source and you can find it right here. If you want to find this repository, you can make it for yourself, use the code that I'm writing, and a lot of documentation already exists here. If you can't get it to work, put that in the issues or in the comment of the video. I see every single comment as of right now. Okay, I hope the video was helpful. It was a lot for me to share all of the intricate details and all of the things that I've been doing. I may make mistakes as I go, but that's kind of the point. I want to share everything that I'm thinking about while I'm making this. I want to make sure the community is one of the first people who get access to something like this. Stay tuned, more videos to come on this. Till then, peace.